Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you who, and where no matter where you are in the world, we just wanted to say good day. We're grateful for you being online with us, and we are so excited for what it is that we're going to be talking about today. Today is Saturday, and it's our Smarter Start Boot Camp. So we do this every single Saturday, um, and we are excited for the things that we're learning in Smarter Start Boot Camp because what it's doing is helping to strengthen our businesses, and for people who are just starting a business, is giving them the amazing jump start that they may need to really dig deep, and make sure that the company is strong. I'm going to throw out some statistics because a lot of times people don't understand, the reason why we have these kinds of tools, and it's really important for you to understand, okay, what is really going on in the landscape of business right now. So we're going to pull up the statistics for, what happens in business, in the first 5 years, first 10 years, how people are really um, faring in their companies, because sometimes things are not going very well, and it is not necessarily that they didn't prepare. Maybe they used all of their retirement. They may have used attorneys or CPAs to help them get started and all of those things, and just things happen in the market, and it really does not have anything to do with some of those particular things as much as it does having the understanding that businesses sometimes go through things, and that's just what happens, even if you prepare. But we want you to be as prepared as possible for some potential things that could happen, so that you are able to, take those barriers and do some things with them that others may not have even thought about doing. Sometimes things are really just a smokescreen, and you don't even understand that you have the smoke screen of the bond market and all of the events that happen in the world. And some of those things are things that we have to learn how to weather and prepare our businesses and insulate them. When you know it's going to be a storm at your house, you do things a little different. If your house is sitting on an incline, sometimes you put out sandbags so that you don't end up with water coming through your front door. So it's the same thing with your business. And so we just want to make sure that um, you have everything you need to have. And while we're doing this Smarter Start Boot Camp, we're going to talk about, some of the things that you might want to be doing. And this would really be helpful, I believe, to you. So some small business statistics. There are about 33.3 million small businesses in the United States, and that makes up about 99.9% of all U.S. businesses. So when you're thinking about businesses in the United States, you want to be knowledgeable about the fact that there are a lot of new businesses out there. Okay. You know, it's kind of a situation where people get started, but you want to remain, you want to keep your business in a position where it is sustainable. So small businesses, though, we really do a lot. We employ about 61.6 million people, representing 45.9% of the entire workforce. So when you're thinking about that and you have a small business, you are contributing tremendously to what is happening here in America. You are making sure that somebody's household is being fed, okay, by having the ability to employ others, and despite over 80% of small businesses operating without any staff, they still have added 12.9 million jobs in the last 25 years. So that's quite a lot when we're thinking about it. Some people are small shops, they are solopreneurs, they're doing it all themselves. And then there are other people who have one or two or three employees, and so when we're thinking about that, it makes a big difference over time. And when you start adding us all together, what we are able to do for households in America. Since 2021, there have been 16 million new business applications, with minority and women-owned businesses really being toward the top. And so when we're looking at women, I want you to be aware that women You are doing an amazing job at contributing to the workforce. You are making sure that households, again, have a way to feed and shelter their families, because a lot of our businesses are businesses where we have more than one person in the business. And so for that reason, we want to be looking at, we got to stay strong. We have to do business better. We've got to do the things that we need to do as a business to stay above board and to make it so that our business is sustainable. And we are here for more than 5 years. Okay. So this is, we got to do that. And sometimes you sell your companies in 5 years or 10 years. You might have that as your end game. Your end game might be to sell the company. But when you sell the company, you want to sell a valuable company. You want to sell a company that has the ability to retain its employees, and the ability to continue to do what it was that you were set out to do from the beginning. So for survival and growth, over 180,000 more small businesses opened than closed from March 2021 to 2022. However, 1 in 5 businesses fail within the first year. So that's why we're doing the Smarter Start boot camp. That's why we're here every Saturday, because we don't want you to be in that statistic. We want you to be in a position where not only are you continuing your business, but your business is growing, it's becoming more valuable, it's sustainable and stable. And so we want to look at the optimistic side of this thing. 72% of small business owners feel optimistic about their future. However, 23% cite inflation as their most important problem, and 40% note trouble filling jobs, because during the pandemic, when it was made available for people to get on the unemployment, they stayed there, some of them, and they didn't go back to work. Some people, they go out and they'll get a job and they'll work for 6 or 9 months, and then they'll opt to get on unemployment, or they'll opt to reduce their hours and get on unemployment, because there's still the program that allows them to collect for not working as long or as many hours. So we want you to be aware that treating your people nicely, making sure that they feel like that their business is your business, that they want to stay because of the fact that they are buying into your mission, that's going to be really, really important, because we don't want you to be in the statistic of having people come and go, because that does tear at the fabric of your company. So I just wanted to throw those statistics out there as we got started this morning. And I wanted to give you some context as to why we do the Smarter Start Bootcamp, because it's very, very important that you have a sustainable, stable, well planned, and extremely valuable company. And that is something that is a part of our landscape, because your success is our success. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. We started last week with the 8 drivers of business value, and we left off at monopoly control, and we are going to continue that. However, one of our members had a question about trademarks and copyrights. One had a question about trademarks, someone else had a question about copyrights, and we'll talk about patents as well. So I want to give the very best explanation possible about these 3 really important protections that you should be utilizing with your company. So as we are kind of going in here, I'm pulling up my notes, because we've done a session on this before, but I want to actually kind of break it down just a little bit more today. So we want to really start probably at the place of patents. And so as we're coming around the bend right now, for a lot of businesses, they are creating processes, they're creating, some of them are creating products and selling them. And we want to help them understand the types of protections that you should be considering, when you're doing these wonderful things. Okay, so starting with the patent protection, what is a patent? And that's going to be important, because if you don't know what a patent is, you sometimes will think it's something that it's not, and you'll start working to do something different, for your company, not realizing the concept. So patents and trademarks are two distinct types of intellectual property protection that serve different purposes, and they're governed by very, very different rules. A patent is the exclusive right granted for an invention, which can be a product or a process, that provides a new way of doing something or offers a new technical solution to a problem. So let me just, break that down, because a lot of people think that just because they have created something, that their something is the only something out there doing this particular type of thing. And so you have to be able to check that your patent, the desire for you to get a patent is on a concept or an idea or an intellectual property that is something that is new. Okay, not something that's restated or a new spin on something that's old, but something that's really a new way of doing something, or it offers some kind of new technical solution to that problem. And here are some, really key things that you might want to think about when you're thinking about patents. So the exclusive rights, if you have a patent, or I should say patent protection, you as the owner have the right to decide who may use your invention that's been patented for the period in which you have that protection. You own it. And so since you own it, you decide how you want people to use or not use your patented invention. And so a lot of people want people to use their patented invention. That is the whole concept of having this particular thing that you created. Some people don't want anyone to use it yet, okay, because they're doing something else. And so as they're doing something else, they may want to lock it down for the period until they get ready to launch. But for the most part, I want you to really think about the fact that when you have a patent, you have exclusive rights, and you get to decide who and how the patent will be used. Okay, who's going to use it and how it's going to be used. Okay, you also understand, that when you get this patent protection, it is typically granted for a limited period. That does not mean that when you have a patent on something, you'll be able to always have that patent. Generally, 20 years from the date that you filed the patent, application is how long your patent is extended to. And it's territorial. Patents are territorial rights, meaning they're only applicable in the country or region where the patent has been filed and granted. That means if you have a patent in America, okay, the United States of America, your patent may not extend past the borders of any territory that the U.S. has. So you might have to go get another patent for Canada, or another patent for China, and another patent for Africa. Why? Because there are patent rules in each of those places, and they're governed by those particular rules in the countries where those patent processes have been established. So you must understand that your patent is territorial for the place where you are. So when you have a process that you believe is a wonderful process, please understand that you may have to get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 patents, because it might be easy for somebody to replicate your process or to create another type of thing that you created in a different country and sell it here. And unless you go through the proper channels, you may be hard pressed to prove that it's yours. So you need to understand, and it might be costly, too, for you to really sue someone for patent infringement. You can definitely reach out to them through the right channels and ask them to stop using it in this country because you have a patent for it here. And that can be done through an attorney, or you can do it the DIY method, do it yourself. But at the end of the day, your patent is only applicable for the country or region where you have filed it and it's been granted. The other thing is to obtain a patent, technical information about your invention or your process has to be disclosed to the public in a patent application. And so for some people, and we've been talking about this, and I'm in school right now getting a Master of Science degree for innovation and entrepreneurship, which deals a lot with new processes and new patents, new concepts, new services. That's what this particular degree is about. And so we've been talking a lot about whether you share or not share. Because by just applying for a patent itself, you're sharing information about what you're doing. And in doing that, sometimes you can create a competitor without realizing it. You put your information out there, someone sees what you're doing through your patent application, and they figure out a way to raise up and become a competitor without infringing on what you're doing per se. So you want to, really think this through and see if patenting your invention or your idea, your process, is what you want to embark upon, because the technical information about that invention has to be disclosed in order for it to be a patent granted. Okay. And the other thing is the conditions for patentability. You have to have a new, useful, and non-obvious invention to be eligible. Okay. For the patent protection. Your process has to be new. It can't be something that, has been being used and you just decide to come up and make a red one. Okay, it doesn't work that way. So there's 3 types of patents: design patents, plant patents, and utility patents. And utility patents are the most common form. And I'm going to take you to the United States Patent and Trademark Office in a minute and share my screen so you can find out where you can learn a lot more about patents. But this is just to give you some surface level information so you can really kind of be thinking through this whole concept of, should I get a patent? Is my idea patentable? Is there someone else out there who's doing it? And I can also show you, as we're going to be sharing the screen, how you can find out, just, do a very surface level check to see if somebody else has something like what you have out there. Now, no, this is not a full patent search, and you might want to, if you're thinking about going through with this, pay for the patent search. We work with a company that is extremely good at what they do with regards to patents. And actually, we have 2 companies that we work with, but one is specific to doing it for you, and the other one is specific to helping you do it. So, I will gladly share that information. If you reach out to us, we will put you in contact with them. And the reason why we want to do it that way is because we have special pricing and special connected services that will help you if you decide to use them. And so we want you to get the coupon or the whatever it is that they're offering. We want you to be able to do that because you're coming through Red Worldwide. Now, what is a trademark and how does it work? Well, a trademark is a sign, design, or expression that identifies products or services of a particular source from those of others. In other words, this is my paperclip, that is your paperclip. Mine has a different shape and it has a different name than yours. They may both be paperclips, but they are trademarked differently and they have a different brand and style and all of that kind of thing. So trademarks identify the source of goods or services and distinguish them from someone else's, right? And this is what we call brand identification. In our Smarter Start Bootcamp in a few weeks, we're going to be talking about branding and how you might want to utilize branding to set yourself apart, to give you a competitive edge. It might be your unique value proposition by itself, just the brand that you have. So trademarking will help people to know that this particular brand is yours. It makes it so that people, can't raise up and start using it if you trademark the the brand, the concept, the logo, the trade style, the verbiage, all of that, if you trademark that properly, then other people cannot utilize it. And unlike the patent, trademarks do not expire. So when you're looking at having a trademark, as long as you are using it and you are the owner of that thing, it can be enforced. You know, the rights of your trademark can be enforced. So this is a different kind of thing than a patent. Patents only it actually protects the concept or the idea in the marketplace so that you are not infringed upon while you're doing commerce. But trademarks helps people to understand the how you're doing business, who you are doing the business. It associates you, your brand, with your company or your product or your process. Okay. So registration for trademark is not required. Okay, when you're registering a trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, it does provide broader rights and protections than an unregistered one, but you do not have to go through the process of of trademarking your ideas or putting it out there that way to use that trademark. However, it is not protected from lots of things when you don't trademark. So let me give you an example. If you wanted to be the exclusive user of that particular logo or that particular verbiage, trade style, as it might be called, or service mark. Okay, that's another word for your logos and other types of artwork that you might be using with your company. If you wanted to be the exclusive user, you need to be able to have the broader protection of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Because if you decided to take someone to court, you'd have the burden of proving that you were the first one that was using that trademark. And the exclusivity is limited in terms of how the judge might, rule in your case. So you want to make sure that you do everything possible to register your marks, register your trade language that you're using with your brand, your mantra, everything about it needs to be, if you're looking for exclusive use of that, it needs to be, locked down in that way. And the TM symbol can be used for unregistered trademarks, while the R with the circle symbol, is used for registered trademarks. So when you're looking at the symbolism, I'm going to pull that up in just a second so you can see the difference, because some people, they've not seen it. And so I want to kind of, give you the ability to see those images and make sure that, you know what it looks like, because a lot of times people are like, well, my stuff is trademarked and I have this on there, but they don't realize that, they may not have listed it right. They may have put things in there that don't quite look the way they're supposed to. So we're right here in the browser, and we're looking at images, the symbols of the trademark, okay? And so when you're looking here with this R inside the circle, that's a registered trademark. When you're looking at the TM with the circle, that's an unregistered trademark, but it's a trademark symbol all the same. You can put TM on anything that is your trademark, okay, that you are associating with your company. And it's important for you to understand that you have that option to do that. We do that a lot on things that we want people to know that we have, this is what we're using as our symbol of the company or a part of what it is that we've done. And I've even done that with specific types of language that I use in some of my intellectual property. I don't necessarily trademark everything. And there's a reason that I don't do that. But, my reason is because a lot of the works that I have are not novel, and a lot of people might be doing that. And I don't necessarily feel it a problem for me to have these things not registered. They don't add any value to our nonprofit at all for the registration of the trademark. The only problem that I would have is if someone else decided to register a trademark and they did not realize we've been using this for years and years and years, and at that point decided that they wanted to try to sue us for our name, being what it is. So in that particular case, we would have to participate in their lawsuit. But here's the thing, because the name of our company is Red is pretty universal, and it's not something that we believe would be an issue. There's so many Red companies out there, and there's Red World this and Red World that. So Red Worldwide would be, not a situation that's new or novel. Okay. All right. So you're looking here at several different types of trademarks. This SM is service mark. Okay. So you might see that also next to something, but it's not a registered. It's a service mark that's not yet registered. Service marks are the logo itself. So you might see somebody put their logo or artwork, and put a SM next to it. Okay. Try to just signifying this is ours. Please respect it. But, again, if you want it registered, then you can put the R and the circle around it. Now, some people might ask, well, if I have registered my trademark in my state, but not at the federal level, am I protected? Okay, well, you're protected in your state. Okay, you're not protected across America. Or for that matter, you're not protected globally because, again, trademark protection, even though it is a protection that does not expire, if you're doing it per state, you have to realize that it's only protection in your state. But on the application in every state in the United States, it asks if you are planning to seek protection or if you've already gotten protection at the federal level or if you're in the process of getting protection at the federal level. And so there's a reason, because they kind of put you in a different category. And that way, if something happens, there's this association with the USPTO that is made, and they can check to see if you went ahead and filed your United States patent or United States trademark that way. So just saying that trademarking in your state, could offer you the protection that you're looking for, depending on the kind of business you have, and if it's a limited scenario where you're only really doing business in your state, that protection within the borders of your state is really it could be a very good thing, even though it doesn't offer you the federal protection. It does protect you across the entire state that you're in. Okay. All right. So modern state trademark bill, that a model state trademark bill did happen, and most states have the laws that are patterned after this model state trademark bill. And so I want you to understand that a lot of the laws are very similar from state to state with regards to what protection they offer for your trademark. I advise you to get on your state's website and find out what the trademark, that if you're going to be using the state protection, what it actually offers you, okay? What rights you have and what other remedies you might have, for having that state protection. State laws, may offer additional remedies beyond those available under the federal law. And so it's really important that you understand it might be to your benefit, even if you have federal protection, to also get the state protection if there's rights of publicity or contract law for trademark agreements that are available per your state that may not be available in for the United States, okay? Then there's also certain common law rights. Trademarks are granted as soon as the mark is used for commercial purposes. What does that mean? That means as soon as you start using it, okay, these laws that are considered the common law rights, as soon as you put your mark on even your company may not be open yet, but you might be using a particular logo or particular other artwork that is associated with your company. Registration is not required to establish the rights, but there are additional legal benefits when you do get the registration. And so it does provide you, in the case of if somebody else is trying to use that same mark, the ability for you to kind of take preeminence over them. Okay, so the precedence of federal trademarks. Federal trademarks do take precedence over state trademarks. So if somebody gets a federal trademark using your same name, your same logo, and you have it in your state, well, the federal trademark can prevent the filing of a state trademark and restrict the use of a state trademark beyond the state border. So what does that mean? That means that you can have a wonderful logo, you can have your state protection, but if somebody goes out and gets that same protection federally on that same mark, or those same words, then they have the federal use of that all across America except in your state, even though you might have gotten it before them in your state. Does that make sense? I hope it's making sense for you. Okay. And then the application process for the state trademark, you apply with the state. Okay. And it varies state by state. So I'll give you an example. In New York, the application for the state trademark has to include your name and your business address and a description of the mark in words, okay? I mean, you have to actually say it's stylized letters and it's upper and lower case, okay? It's very extensive. And the list of the things that are associated with that mark, is this for clothing or is it for food or is it, for, just used, in the verbiage, in speaking about the process, the manner in which it was used and the date. Okay. In some other states, it's not as it may not be as extensive as that. In Texas, they have some very specific rules. You have to actually include a picture of the logo along with the verbiage and explaining what the logo looks like. So the two things together helps them to, protect your trademark. So those are really extensive things that you might be thinking about. But it's important to note that, the state trademark registration can offer local protection and it could be suitable for your business. It does not provide the broad protection that you might need if you decide to extend your business to another state. It may be at some point that you decide, I am going to start doing business in California, Texas, and New Mexico, right? And you've only been doing business in Texas before, and now you have the situation because you didn't get the trademark federally of having to go and do trademarks for each one of those states. And so it may not be to your benefit, to just do the state trademark. You might want to be thinking about that. So this is what is the difference between the patent and the trademark. Now I want to talk about something else. What is copywriting? Okay. Because sometimes, it might be to your benefit to understand the copyright, as an intellectual property protection and the ability to safeguard your authorship of, your concepts. And that might be a more flexible and usable scenario for a lot of people who are creating different types of processes that are not necessarily something that's new, Okay, so it doesn't have the ability to get a patent, but it might be something that you still have as your intellectual property and you do it a certain way. And by putting it in a book or a manual and copywriting it, you protect it in a different way than you might would if you got the patent. Now, do you still need a trademark? Well, that really depends on whether or not you want to protect the brand or protect the logo or the artwork associated with this process. But let's look at what copywriting is and see if this is a more economical way or a better way for talking about what you're doing. Okay, so let me go back. I want to make sure that people do understand because I didn't do this before I said that I was going to show you the United States Patent and Trademarks website. And I want to do that because I think it's really important for you to see this. So give me just a second because I'm going to share my screen, I think. Hold on. Maybe not. Okay. Give me just a second. I think something is happening technically that doesn't allow me to do it. So it could be something happening with Zoom. So I'm going to have you guys guide you there and tell you what you're going to see when you get there. So you can kind of go on your own screen, open up another tab and go to uspto.gov. Okay. And by going to uspto.gov, I want you to look at the top. There are in that area, you'll see the United States Patent and Trademark Office's logo. And I just want to bring out, there's a nice little, cute little R and a circle there. Okay. So that's something that we just talked about, registering the trademark. So even at the level of the government, they use the concept of registration for their intellectual properties. And so that's really important for you to know. So they have their logo there, the USPTO logo, and next to it, the logo's changed over the years, but next to it, it has the United States Patent and Trademark Office in words. Okay, and so those are in stylized letters. It's a particular font that they use. There's a particular size to the font. And then, of course, next to that, there's the R in the circle. Registration has been applied here. Okay, you'll notice that at the top, all the way to the right, you'll see something that says My US PTO. So if you are applying for a patent or a trademark, this is where your account lives. Okay. And this is where you can go and check if you've made an application as to what's going on with your application in the My USPTO. You will have been granted, an account. So you create that account, and in that account, you can begin the process of doing this wonderful, okay, wonderful. It's going to let me share. Yay. All right, I think. Maybe not. Okay. I'm not sure what's happening here, but Zoom is having issues. We'll continue. Okay. So that's where you would, take advantage of looking for information about the patent or trademark that you're doing. You can start by making your account because there's a section there that says create a USPTO.gov account. And in doing that, that's free to you to create the account. But by doing that, you can actually start the process and give yourself the opportunity to move about inside of the site, but in a way that you can keep up with what you're doing. Okay, so now the second level of menu there, right underneath the section that gives you their name and their the search bar window, you'll see patents, trademarks, IP policy, learning, and resources. So I'm going to point everybody to the learning and resources section because there's so much here. You can get Resources by audience, attorneys, agents, and paralegals have a place that they can look. Inventors and entrepreneurs, which is where I'm going to be sending most of you to click on that link, because there it actually gives you tons of resources. There's a section called Get Started, and it talks about the different types of IP protection. The identify the kind of IP you have. Your intellectual property is IP. So you can know what it is that you need to do, and what kind of application you might want to apply for, or trademark or copyright you might want to apply for. Patent basics, trademark basics, and copyright basics. These are some wonderful opportunities for you to get information about what a patent is. I gave you some basic high level stuff today, but this is a deep dive, and this is all free. So while you're looking for, whether or not this is the right thing for you, there's basic questions about patents, foreign patents and treaties, inventor assistance, functions of the agency itself, the United States Patent and Trademark Office, how they can help you, what it is that they do, and the things that they offer for free. Okay, as well as the cost. Then if you go to applying for patents, there's a whole section on, explaining to you the types of patents and, what the cost of those things are, right? Because you need to understand the fees and the deadlines and the essential parts of the process. Some people don't understand that when they first apply and they get something approved, it's a patent pending most often. And that means that it's not a full patent. It just says that a patent is imminent. If you follow the instructions that they have given you, that it's very possible that
Is she still here?
I'm not sure.
I don't hear her anymore. Do you?
No, I just have a picture of her. It says Fred Worldwide Inc. is
Okay.
recording.
Yeah, she's still recording, so I'm gonna call her.
Okay.